Hello, everyone. Good to see you all. Welcome to Piano Tech Radio Hour. Good old friendly faces once again. Great to have you all here. See Bill Clayton, Stephen, how's it going? Morgan, welcome. See Todd Harris here, Nancy Salmon, Larry. All right. Who's IPA? Sounds like an interesting device name. See Donna Bird's just getting in here. All right. Well, we'll let a few more people roll in before we get started. Yeah, great to see everyone. Make sure people can grab a seat. And we're also going out live on Facebook. And looks like there's a few people out there on Facebook as well. We'll send out a link so you can join us here in the Zoom chat. Hopefully we'll get that out to you within the next 15, 20 minutes. As we typically do, we may sign off of Facebook and YouTube after a bit of the show, just to encourage folks to jump on in and participate here. But yeah, good to see you out there on the internets as well, just hanging out. And we're almost to about 5 after. And at that point, we'll kind of get rolling here. So I think it's probably time I could at least give an introduction here. So welcome to Piano Tech Radio Hour. Each week at Piano Tech Radio Hour for quite a while here, we have been bringing in really awesome, interesting, and knowledgeable folks in the piano industry. And we have interviews with them. They provide insights, lessons, stories, latest information on what's going on in the piano industry. It's not as fast moving as your, other industries. So we don't have to be too concerned about what's going on at the latest, but there is always interesting things that people are talking about, trends, things to watch out for, especially, in how we conduct business or, what kind of procedures we're going to utilize in our day-to-day operations. And so that's where we come here with Piano Tech Radio Hour, just kind of a friendly voice, a friendly face every Saturday for those piano nerds out there. We talk to piano distributors, store owners, manufacturers, even piano players and musicians quite a bit, all the way from jazz to classical. We bring in people who make and maintain other instruments as well, from guitars to violins or anything else that seems interesting to our crowd. And this all is brought to you by Piano Technicians Masterclasses, which brings you cutting edge instruction from piano industry masters without leaving your home. You could find out more at pianotechniciansmasterclass.com. And an update on what's going on with Piano Technicians Masterclasses: we are adding some quizzes to the mix. So when you watch one of our lectures, you can take a quiz afterwards. There'll be a handful of questions, about 10. If you pass the quiz above 80%, you get points that not only recognize that you were paying attention and you have some understanding of the content, but also give you some points that you can use as credits for some of our other content offerings as we proceed and bring out new content. And so you cache those until they're ready to be utilized, and then take advantage of the fact that you've been both a loyal member of Piano Technicians Masterclasses, but someone who's also kind of paying attention and engaging in using the services and products we have. And the higher subscription level you're at, the more those points are worth. So try to give back for the folks that help support what we've been doing over the years. So I guess that gives the general overview of what we're doing here and what's going on. So I think we can sort of jump in and chat today. I need to send Pooja a quick message in the chat here. By the way, you guys don't always hear about her, but Pooja has been helping out with this project pretty much the whole time here. Maybe there was a few, I forget exactly when she came on board, but it's pretty much been the whole time we've been doing this. And we so appreciate what she's been able to add to the project. She helps keep things organized. She helps, draft the emails, She says hi everyone in the chat there. It's probably relatively late there in India where she lives as well. And so of course we appreciate her time and dedication in being involved here. Let's just see what time in India right now. 12:30 in the morning, right? 12:30 a.m. So here she is hanging out, being with us, piano nerding out, and we so appreciate that. Pretty much every week she participates. Yeah, actually, Pooja, if you could, I'll just ask you right here since we're talking now. I need the message to send out on Facebook and YouTube after we've been on for 15, 20 minutes. So if you could just DM that to me so I can have that available. But yeah, again, I guess I'll just speak to that a little bit more. Pooja is not a piano. She likes music. I believe she writes songs like lyrics and things like that and poetry. But I've been so impressed on how she's really kind of being able to understand our community. She kind of watches carefully and pays close attention to everything we do and talk about, and is really quite perceptive, on what us in the piano industry care about and need. And I'm pretty impressed with that. So shout out to Pooja. Pooja says, thanks for all I do. Oh no, Nancy, thank you very much. Nancy said, thanks for all you do, Pooja. That's very wonderful. Oh yeah, India time also is kind of strange. They have a half hour time zone. So it's actually, it's 12:30 in India, even though we're on the hour mark pretty much here. They're like a half hour as well as many additional hours off. So I'll tell you a little bit about what's going on next week here. We're going to bring on Paul Rea as a guest. So we have a fun guest for next week. He's a guy that's taught at conventions and has a lot of great knowledge under his belt. And so we'll be excited to bring him in and pick his brain and see what he'd like to share about. So look forward to that next week. And then I think, we've got the appropriate crew here, maybe to make an announcement, which I think is kind of fun. So I've been for the past, I think I even brought it up here to you guys, maybe the past few months, right? Things are changing, in my life, and all sorts of things are going on that are fascinating and interesting. Of course, we also lost David, several months back, which has been an interesting factor in how we continue with this project, with his spirit here, continuously. But it's a different game to play when you don't have David around. He's a very special character. So I've been looking for folks to bring on the team and bring on board and to help out and sort of bring new energy to the project. And I found someone pretty cool that wants to come in and start helping out. And you've met him before if you've been here the past few weeks. But maybe we could take some time and introduce him today and say hi if he's willing. We don't have to spend the whole session on it, or we can. But yeah, Morgan Cowell. Hey, Morgan, how's it going?
Hey, everyone.
Yeah, good to see you here. So I'll just give a little bit of intro and if you feel like saying anything about what's coming up as well. But we had that session with Morgan, and he's kind of claimed his title as this kind of young, ambitious guy in the piano industry. He got through North Bennett Street. He went back to Nebraska. And sort of built a beautiful business, and they wouldn't let him leave. Everything started coming together so nicely for him. And he's got some people on his team, answering phones and helping make things happen. And so he's got that kind of acumen to make things happen. So, anyways, I got to talking to him, and I said, "Hey, man, would you like to be a part of this?" And it was that I don't think there was a second of hesitation. So that's a good sign. So we're going to be bringing Morgan on here. He's already been working behind the scenes without kind of telling you guys what's going on. He's going to be hosting some sessions, either alongside with me, or maybe I'll let him take the reins here and there. He's totally comfortable with that if we do that. He's been helping to book some guests for the upcoming sessions as well. And he's got some experience with this. He's worked with the PTG, and helping organize conventions and things like that. So, despite his relatively young age among us. He's built some connections and relationships in the piano industry. And I think that'll be helpful as we incorporate his energy and his spirit in the project. So anyways, Morgan, do you want to say anything just about how you feel about coming on board and helping out? And maybe you could even give us a hint about what things you're bringing into the show in the next few months.
Sure. First, I have to say though that with talking with everybody recently, they are all so just very thankful for all the work that you've done with this for all of us, especially once COVID hit, because conventions were canceled, our local meetings were canceled, and so you've really helped kind of build this weekly community of technicians, and so first, thank you for that. But it's great to be a part of it all. I love to learn. I always am trying to learn more and expand what I know and fill in those cracks. So yeah, when there's an opportunity to learn alongside other people, and I jumped right in. So I'm really excited. We've got some good guests coming in, some old, some young, some new, some female, some male, and we're trying to get some more too. So if there's, a particular topic maybe that hasn't been discussed a lot or we want to be expanded upon, let one of us know and we'll see what we can do. There are a lot of aspects to the piano business. And we always like feedback back from the community just to keep it relevant and, and fun and exciting and whatnot. But yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah. And I've given Morgan full license to make this his personal tutorial for improving his piano tuning and skills and the strength of what he has going. So I think there's just a really wonderful alignment with that. Anything I think that you'd like to learn or or people you'd like to meet or network with, I think it's a perfect platform and everybody can benefit from that process. And and also just we can all be a supportive community for you in sort of growing what you'd like to grow over the coming months and years. So yeah, feeling good about all that. Yeah. What are do you want to say some of the names of the people that you decided to bring on? And tell a little bit about if you know any of them much already and things that they might be able to bring to the table.
Yeah. In no particular order. We've got Ed Foote coming on pretty soon. He's a great guy from Nashville. You name a country album, he's the tuner on it, and he's got some crazy stories. And I might be getting this wrong, but I think he would get to the studios at 4 or 5 in the morning. He had keys to all the RCA studios and stuff. And just a hard worker. He'd done working by 2 o'clock that day, but he'd start super early and do all this high end stuff. And so he's great.
Which is great, by the way. I'm pretty sure his name has been coming up over and over and over again. Even since we were doing piano technicians master classes, starting that back in 2017. So what's that? 18, 19, 20, 20. That's 5 years. And I don't think we've had him involved for whatever reason. There's just some things that just don't happen. And so I'm really excited that since he's a name that's been coming up so much that you were able to connect with him. So that's really exciting.
We've got Micah Sundholm as well coming up. He's even younger than I. And I think at 19, he was the head tech at Washington State University because he went through North Bennett. He did Tanglewood. And then he landed that college job where he was younger than most of the incoming freshmen, and he was the head technician, working with the Faziolas and everything else. Yeah, so he's a really, really ambitious guy. We've got Sky Meadows also coming in, also from the West Coast. She's kind of exploded too. I remember she was just kind of training when I met her one time in Tucson, and now she's hiring people and growing and expanding and working with Steve Brady up there.
Right.
Part of that. And
she I've had a few chats with her, and again, I think it's great for. I think I've invited her to participate, and for whatever reason, various times, maybe she's busy or she's got something going on or whatever. I'll say I think I invited her. I mean, I might not have got a chance to invite her. Maybe I just held off on it because she said she was so busy. But anyways, yeah, she's. I know of her. I have talked to her a few times, and she's been excited. She's been a participant in the master classes and radio hour as well. And that sort of taking on the onus of Steve Brady's business is not an easy task. No. There's a lot to be done, and also just to manage a business. I think that's a lot as well. You'd be surprised, I guess, or we wouldn't be surprised. We all have to deal with it a bit, but and
the last one will be Ty Upoff. He's in the St. Louis area. He really is doing kind of the wider service area now. Like he's expanding into other cities. He has several full-time office people now. He's bringing in people now from South America for 3-month stints to help train and tune and do work back there, back and forth. So he's always got something, really neat going on, and he is tuning 7 days a week and just going madness right now. So I'm really excited to talk to him, find out how he has all that much stamina, and I do some of the pitfalls and some of like the exciting things that maybe he's discovered along the way with this. Looks like Carl said that we should get Kirsi Lassi from Finland.
Sure.
I've seen her on Facebook. I did not know that she was from Finland. I thought she was a US tech.
No, yeah. She's a real Yamaha person. She spent weeks at the Yamaha Academy in Hamamatsu.
Well, we will get her on. I'll do our best, anyways. Yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah, we have a little bit more leverage too. We can work together on that. She was actually participated in the very first Piano Technicians Masterclasses session ever. Oh, wow. It was her and Boaz Kirschenbaum had been collaborating on putting together some videos on voicing techniques, right? And so he knows her very well and worked with her very closely. So when she found out that we were going to do the session, she's actually in some of the videos that they created together, demonstrating hammer filing techniques and whatnot, stuff like that. But at the same time, she, was an early participant in the classes, that we're putting on the table, and was very enthusiastic about it. Again, it makes sense, right? I mean, she's got people like Boaz that she's connected with, who lives in the Boston area, and she wants to stay in touch and and stay involved. And here's a perfect opportunity, right? When you're in another country to do that kind of stuff. So yeah, I think we could probably get her on. That's definitely a good recommendation, Carl. Cool. And I think that's most of the people we've got lined up for the time being, right, Morgan?
I've got a list. I'm just waiting for them to email me back, or vice versa. We're all so busy that it's hard to get back right when you really should. Or I know that I'm really bad. Like I'll like see the email come in like on my watch or something, and then go, oh yeah, and then it's like 2 days later, and I thought about my response to you. I haven't sent it yet. So.
Trust me, I know. Carl can tell you. I think I have text messages from Carl that literally say, "Man, you're a hard to reach guy, Ethan." Like it's kind of having that tone, like, what's going on here, man? Just give me a call back, all right? So yeah, very cool. That's a great lineup. And Ty also was an early participant. I think he was signed up for the very first masterclass that we did, or at least one of the very early ones, and very excited about it. And I think he was referred to us by can't think of his name right now, from Gazelle. Why can't I think of his name?
Barnes.
Tim Barnes. Yeah, I think Tim Barnes. We were collaborating. Or we were talking, and he came up with some names of folks that he knew that might be interested. And I think Ty was one of them, who we got on board. Yeah. And a funny story, which I could tell at this time, I was at the time that we started Piano Technicians Masterclasses. I didn't know exactly what I was going to be doing for a project to support the piano industry. And one of the directions that I might have gone was to create yet another application to help piano technicians monitor their clientele, and, kind of similar to what Gazelle was doing, right? And I think he was very happy that it didn't become a competitor. He's happy to refer me new clients for an alternate business that didn't provide him with a headache and anxiety around competition. So there you go. We find our niches, you know. So yeah, great. Well, I think
Ethan?
yeah, Donna, what
And
do you got
Morgan,
to say?
I just want to make sure you got my email about David Fulton and his
Yes.
violin collection.
Yeah, totally. And that's a really good idea. And
He's amazing.
I'm going to make sure and message that. I'll probably pass it on to Morgan as well as Pooja, just so they both know that we're working on this. But yeah, Donna said she's got a connection who, is he collect violins? Is that what it is? Or
He spent 40 years collecting and building his book. He still has some of them.
very cool. Yeah. I think he would make a great guest. So we'll make sure we reach out to him and move forward on that for sure. I guess there's some other things we can talk about, but it might be an interesting moment if people are feeling a little bit interactive. You know, we have an opportunity to, I think, as we shift forward here, Morgan and I had talked about this a little bit, and of course we'll talk about it offline a little bit, but sort of formatting this. We have an opportunity to maybe change the format a little bit, mix things up a little bit, you know, maybe have different segments or different parts of things. Of course, we can kind of continue with what we've been doing. But if anybody has any ideas around reformatting the show, I think the hour time format works pretty well, but kind of what we do with that, we could change it around. You know, we had some ideas, which may or may not be the best, or, you know, maybe they're amazing. I don't know. But, you know, ideas around, hey, like tool of the week or something like that. Right. Or, you know, what's the latest in the piano industry? What are people talking about? What are the trends? You know, what are things to watch out for, look out for, stuff like that. You know, beyond products, like highlight like tools and things like that. You know, be they like maybe like a software tool or, you know, stuff like that, or ideas. Shop tours. I think I agree with that. I think you brought that up, Morgan. So maybe we could put a little bit more energy into like tours of people's shops. Maybe it's just a matter of like reaching out to people who want to give a tour of their shop, and maybe they just send in photos or a short video, and we could make it like a segment in the program where we tour someone's shop and they talk about how they organize it, where they put the tools, stuff like that. I'll bring them on the show, or just kind of let them submit a little bit of content that we could share. So those are some of the things that have come up in conversation, but I don't know. Does anybody have any other thoughts or opinions on that kind of direction?
And have you given any thought to touring the South Carolina museum?
Yes.
Isn't that a 40-year?
Yes.
40-year celebration or something like that?
I don't
would love
know.
to see that.
Yes, I don't know if that's an official. I don't know that. I haven't been paying attention if there's like an official 40-year anniversary or something like that. But that is, again, something that's been on the table for quite a while, and so I think we could pursue it for sure. Because, you know, again, we're finally at this time where there's very little resistance to maybe getting a camera crew out. You know, people don't necessarily have to have masks. We could go on location and you know, put together some cool content. Yeah. And stream it live, or, you know, have a recording that we put as part of the program. So yeah, that's a great idea for sure. Any other thoughts or ideas, or any opinions about the stuff that I brought up? Tools or shop tours or something like that. The funny thing about shop tours is all of the technicians that except, you know, Bill was willing to do a kind of a shop overview about how he built it. Built his whole tool, you know, like his tool layout and his shop and how he built it from scratch. But a lot of the technicians go, "Wow, my shop's so messy. I don't want to show anybody, you know." It's, you know, and it's like always like, no, that's part of the beauty of it, I think. as long as it's not like you know, whatever, there's not like rats running around or something.
I'm working on a class actually for convention this year about shops and keeping them, at least like somewhat organized, because it's really easy to be uninspired by your workspace, right? Like if you get too many projects going on, like you walk in and you just tense up and you do not want to work anymore. And then your work suffers and you don't work as long. But yeah, seeing a workshop like in its entirety, like you can learn a lot about a person by like just seeing, how do you keep your screwdrivers? Are they in a pile on the floor? Are they meticulously put in foam, up on the wall? Are they old? Are they new? Are they covered in paint? You can learn a lot.
I keep all of my screwdrivers in a separate safe with a separate code. They're polished. No, not at all. Larry is clearly like in his shop and he's ready to do a tour like right now, I think.
Actually, no, not of my shop, but might be able to arrange to give tours of some of the venues where I work, including a concert hall and a couple of recording studios and a university. And I think that might be of interest and value.
Cool, absolutely. Yeah. Like recording studios, for those that haven't been in them, they can be intimidating. Like one, you don't have very much time. And two, like you really have to be on your A game. But then, that'd be really interesting for those that are just learning or those that, that haven't worked on one before. That's a great idea.
Okay, I'll work on that, see what I can set up.
Nice. Yeah, we'll try to reach up and follow up about that too. I'm making a list of some of these ideas and thoughts. So we've got Larry and some tours of the venues, and we make sure follow up with Donna.
Maybe yeah. Carl can take us on a cruise ship tour.
Nice. Why doesn't he? Wait. Why doesn't he just take us on a cruise?
I could probably take you to a like Larry, a concert hall or a recording studio also.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just thinking, there's some of these things that are not economically feasible, but just, because there may not be enough demand to kind of pay for it. But I think an instructional video for that, piano technician who's really never done recording studios too much before, right? Where you actually sit down with the technicians who do recording studios and a couple of the engineers, right? And you open up that conversation, right? Because it's like, how scary is it? I mean, I was tuning pianos in New York City, you know what I mean? And there's, and you're in Los Angeles, Carl, right? Like these are meccas of like the top quality in recording there is in the world, right? And so to go into a studio and this guy's naming bands, rock bands that I know or musicians that I know, and he sits me down in front of this piano to tune, which I don't know if you guys have ever tuned these. I don't even know what it's called. I want to say it's called a stretcher stringer piano. I can't think of the name of the thing, but it's these little hexagonal. It doesn't have two.
Screw stringer.
What is it called?
Mason and Hamlin screw stringer.
Mason and Hamlin screw stringer piano. And, he's like, here's the tool to tune it, right? And it's like this little, it's got like a 6-inch long handle. It looks nothing like an actual tuning hammer. And he's like, you'll figure it out, man. Okay, great. And I'm tuning them. And then I come back, right? And they go out of tune differently than a piano tuning pin would, right? So you have to learn what are the physics of how this piano gets tuned. And I'm sitting there tuning and I'm like, I don't know, man. Like he's like, you'll do it fine. Right. And then it's like, okay, it's time to wrap up. We got about 15 minutes before they're coming in to do the recording. I was like, wait, whoa. He's like, nah, it's fine. You don't need to do the top end. Like, I'm like, so it's like situations like that people who tune in recording studios are going to run into. Oftentimes there's time pressure because they want to get the musician in there to work. And yeah, I don't know. We've talked about it a little bit on here, Carl, in terms of recording studios, but
Arlen Harris and me did a session on recording studios.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, that was good. That was a good one. I remember. What is there anything you haven't shared about recording studios and sort of like what are the highest pressure things that you've run into in recording studios?
If you want, let me just say some things. You know, you have the main thing that separates recording studios, they all have the top of the line equipment and engineers and everything. It's the vibe. Your job as a piano tuner is to help construct the vibe of the studio. You're there to serve. You're there to do whatever they ask you to do, and to just be a fly on the wall and to be as helpful as possible. The vibe is really important. And the second thing is, we care about all the things we care about, but really what everyone cares about is super solid unisons. No one wants to call you in the middle of a session and say, you need to come back or there's a problem. And if your unisons are really solid, that you're golden. That's the most important thing.
Yeah. There's also those things with the recording studio that you don't always care about as much with the home pianos or something, right? Like, oh, okay, there's a little tiny noise, on the, the top A, or something in the piano.
Damper whoosh on the W dampers, on the trichord dampers is an issue, and you got to make sure you cut the excess felt off.
Yeah, because it's a different experience, like listening to a piano with a mic right down there by the strings or the actual dampers, right? And it's picking these things up, and then they call you back in and they say, hey, luckily nowadays people can edit some of these little noises out with some of the advanced recording software, but yeah, it could be pretty annoying because you have to pay attention to different factors. You have to think about what would it be like if I had my ear right here in the piano. So that's where they like to put the mics for sure. Morgan, have you had any experiences with recording studios?
I have, yeah, not quite as high end as Carl, but sometimes you're filling in for another technician and you have to be consistent with their work, because otherwise then the recording doesn't have contingency. So maybe you'll hear something that you would change, right? But the studio doesn't mind it. They're liking it. Like you just have to get it in tune with solid unisons and then put that later. So sometimes you have to kind of put your best intentions on hold when you're subbing for someone else. But then, also times then too, you might get called in to work for a recording studio and you might have to say, hey, this piano needs 2 days to be recording level. I don't feel comfortable, doing this until we do X, Y, and Z. And having the confidence to say that is hard sometimes. But if you don't, then you're, on the hook for recording this piano that's not really recording ready, and there's problems and callbacks, and it's just kind of a headache. So I think we could definitely develop kind of a what's called the best practices for certain situations, right? Just kind of like default rules for the recording technician that somebody could look to copy, at least initially. Like rather than going in blind. Like Carl would be great for that.
We'll go over to you in a minute, Carl, but just for folks on Facebook and YouTube, there's that message in the chat there. If you want to join us, you can click the link. I'm going to be locking us out of there. So we'll say goodbye, but maybe we'll say hello in a minute. But yeah, Carl, go ahead.
So, I'm a Cybertuner user, obviously.